Yeah, that's mad wild. That's mad wild. All right, clap it up. Oh, what's up? I want to start this conversation first and foremost by saying, go support an indie developer. Go support an indie developer. If you don't need to watch however long this video is, you can stop right now. Go get an indie developer. In fact, please, before we even start, before I even introduce myself, if you found an indie game on Steam that you really, really like, put it in the comment section right now. Put it in the comment section. I don't even play games, but I just want everybody to be able to go find an indie developer to go support and put it in the comment section. I want this to be the biggest comment section dedicated to finding indie developers the world has ever seen. Make it happen, okay? Clap it up. Clap it up. The reason why we're talking about indie developers is because they might be the last great stand we see in video game culture to bring us video games for people, for gamers, by gamers. And the reason why I say this is because we're starting to see a heavier migration into the AI push in gaming. And in a world where Ubisoft feels comfortable enough to charge you $130 for a season pass game, a statue and figurettes with special armors and special clothes, plus the game, before they even released gameplay footage, it's clear that these gaming companies have gotten too big for their own britches. But yet, there's articles that come out every day that tell us everything we say we don't like as gamers, we continue to pay for. DLC, numbers go through the roof. Games as a service, numbers go through the roof. People paying for custom knives and guns and stuff like this in Call of Duty and whatever other shoot 'em up game there is, we see it. Literally, Fortnite is still here. And its genre is still making waves throughout the whole entire thing. And I'm guilty of playing the games, but I don't put my money into cosmetics or DLC. In fact, my famed acclaim is returning Spider-Man 4 PS4 before the Catwoman DLC came out, and it came out 2 weeks after the game. I returned the game because if it wasn't on the disc, they didn't want me to play it, and I'm okay with that. I'm perfectly fine with that. But what happens when AI now starts taking the jobs of people in games? And AI in games isn't strange. AI in games has been a thing, but it wasn't called AI. They're called automations, life cycles of NPC players. I think some of the life cycles in a lot of these NPC games have been amazing to see. And when you get a good NPC, it really makes the game pop, right? So let's talk about it a little bit and get to see why AI in the video game industry is not going to make better games for anybody. Oh, by the way, my name is Hero. This is Coding with Strangers. AI is already taking jobs in the video game industry. This is a long ass article. I didn't read. I skimmed through it, but I'm not reading all of this. But I'll definitely put it in the description if you want to. It had some great points. I just can't read it all here. It's too long. Video games, the people who make them are in trouble. Estimated 10,500 people in the industry were laid off in 2023 alone. This year, layoffs in the nearly 200 billion sector have only gotten worse, with studios axing what is believed to be 11,000 more and counting. Microsoft, home of the Xbox and parent company to several studios, including Activision Blizzard, shuttered Tango Games Work and Alpha Dog Games in May, all the while generating AI systems built by OpenAI and its competitors have been seeping into nearly every industry, dismantling whole careers along the way. I'm going to just say this up front. There needs to be a reckoning in the gaming industry on par with what happened in the movie industry when the actors and the writers all went on strike. We got to be willing to go a year without video games. We have to go a year with bad video, like we have to go a year with some bad, just a bad. And I mean, if we're keeping it real, we're already in the year. Tell me how many games you got on your PlayStation 5, your Xbox. And now they got Game Pass where they're saying you don't need that Xbox. That $400 piece of equipment we actually buy, you don't need it anymore. You can play it anywhere. You can play it on a fridge in Best Buy if you download the right specs. We need a reckoning in the gaming industry. AI art is so bad. AI art is so bad. But gaming might not be the biggest industry AI stands poised to conquer. Its economy might has long since eclipsed Hollywood, while its workforce remains mostly non-union. Yeah. While the workforce remains mostly non-union. Unions are so important. I used to be someone who was staunchly against unions early on, but then I started to see how they really do impact people. The gaming industry needs a union. It needs an art union. It needs a developer union, and it needs it definitely needs like a voice actor union and also like mocap union. There's no way in hell that a gaming studio should be able to keep the likeness of movements, of people's faces, of people's writings, and use them in perpetuity to make new content. That should not be allowed. That shouldn't be possible. Union the hell out of everything. A recent survey from the organizers of the Game Developer Conference found 49% of surveyors, more than 3,000 respondents, said their workplace used AI. That's terrifying. And 4 out of 5 said they had ethical concerns about the use. Damn. 4 out of 5 of 3,000 people have an issue. Think there's an ethical issue with the way the AI was used. So gaming studios are already manipulating using it. Games have two varying degrees used automation for years, yes. They rely heavily on AI programs that control enemies, environments, and non-player characters, NPCs. That's not what people are talking about. When they discuss AI now in 2024, they are typically talking about generative AI produced by large language models and the related system that have been unleashed by the latest boom. You want to know what AI would not have been able to do effectively? In the Arkham series, one person is responsible for animating all 270 different characteristics that Batman's cape will have. When he's in flight being attacked, when he's dive bombing being attacked, when he's rescuing somebody, when he's dodging, hitting, jumping, throwing, everything. One person. There's no AI language model that could do that. There's something sterile about AI generated things. Let's look at placeholder items on like development stores where you can use this as a placeholder. Those things are stale, boring. Some of the most creative universes, even something as simple as Mario World 1 of 1. That in itself is a dream, but I bet a bunch of you guys didn't even realize that the bushes are just the clouds turned upside down and colored different. But it's not because it's a trick of the mind. They had a limited amount of capacity they could work with, but the creativity to be able to think on the fly. How do you save money to make the game that much better and pack more into the game, right? How do you do more to make the game more impactful? When you lose those finite characteristics in games, they become sterile. And people like me who should be playing games can't find the will to do it unless it's something motivating you. A recent report from the consulting firm CVL Economics commissioned by the entertainment industry trade groups found a gaming industry already regulated task to generative AI more than its peers in TV, film, and or music. According to the survey, 300 CEOs, executives, and managers, nearly 90% of video game companies had already implemented AI-generated stuff. See, and this is the problem. They've already grown comfortable with the idea of doing this. They've already grown comfortable with the idea of doing it, and it's gonna make things hard. And they go on to mention a few other things here, but I want to take the question the question elsewhere, if you guys will indulge me. We already talked about how AI can't dream and that it doesn't have the things necessary to make creativity possible. We also talked about there needs to be a reckoning within the industry. They're gonna have to try and unionize, and we might not get games for a year, but look at the alternative right now. We're getting nickel and dimed out of our wazoo. We have something called a AAA game that isn't ready day one. They need to upload a patch day one. And now they're talking about having the kahunas to say they want to have quadruple A games. Right? So then the question becomes, if they're going to have all of these things that they want to make and do, why do we got to pay what we're paying? Why do we got to pay the price? If we're not paying, would you pay money for an idea that wasn't a product of someone's imagination? Like, would you play a game that didn't have an imagination backing it? Would you be able to tell the difference? I've played some very impactful games that have changed my life. Spec Ops The Line, it's no spoilers, but if you haven't played that game, my goodness. And if you don't hate Sephiroth with a passion, I don't think you're human. And if you don't understand the luxury or joy of facing off one of the legendary dogs in Pokemon Silver, like, it makes me wonder what you had fun with, right? Games were designed to give people an imagination. And I hate when people say it's supposed to be an escape. No, it's supposed to be your viewport into someone else's imagination. It's not a way for you to get away from the world. It's a way for you to get more in touch with people who create art in the world. And I don't think those visions, I don't think the creators of art want to be replaced by wandering off ideas made up in a backroom boardroom with a regulatory robot at their forefront. Metal Gear is a great game. Changed the way we even looked at games. Like, there's so many things. God of War, the two new ones. We're talking about games so good, people don't even need to watch. Don't even need to play. Just watch someone else play. Twitch made an economy off of that. But I think that these gaming companies think they're onto something here, and sadly they're not. This isn't going to plan out the way they think it is. They're going to make these games, but with these AI bots, and it might work for a few days, but eventually it's going to roll around that a lot more people are going to be against it than for it. But more than ever, and I'm going to say this now, and half of us on listen, everyone, if you've paid for a microtransaction or any type of DLC this year, put a 1 in chat. I know for a fact that a lot of people find solace in their video games, so they invest in them, and it makes sense. I don't want to rag on people who do that, but we do need to find a way of pumping the brakes so that we can get these companies to realize certain things we don't want. It's crazy to me that we can get a bunch of people, a vocal minority of no more than 10,000 people, to complain about Yasuke in a video game, but we can't get them to change the pricing structure and polish of a video game that we are paying $80 for, $70 for. If you're more mad about that than this, then I see why we're constantly getting ripped off as gamers. But that's just my opinion on it. Hey, clap it up. I want to know what y'all think. I want to know. What game are you looking for this year? Did you make it this far and not put an indie developer in the comment section? Go down there and support some indie developers. You should buy Plaza. This is going to be super relevant in like 2 years. But I love you guys. Take care. Like, share, and subscribe. All right, we're done.